G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we are looking at the War for Cybertron Earthrise Cliffjumper. Now, I am aware that this guy was reissued more recently as Buzzworthy Cliffjumper with a few alterations, mostly all just color and stickers. But I got this guy back in the day as my stand-in Cliffjumper until I got my X-Transports Toro. And then he went and turned into alt mode and went on my shelf. And I was going through trying to figure out what I want to do for today's episode, and I'm like, did I ever do an episode on Earthrise Cliffjumper? And as I soon quickly found out when I did a search through my video list, no, I hadn't. So, as far as I'm aware, because I don't have another Bumblebee to replace my masterpiece, I never bought another one. He was my last mini bot to do a review for. So here it is. We'll get him out of the way. So if you haven't got yourself a Cliffjumper yet, Buzzworthy Bumblebee, Buzzworthy Cliffjumper, or this guy, definitely put it in for your mainline figure. I want to say he was a deluxe, even though technically he's a bit small for a deluxe, but it's more because of parts counts and all that. And I don't know why my bazooka's a little bit crooked. As you can see, he does have a massive gun, which is a reference back to episode 1. Yes, episode 1, where he took a pot shot at Megatron while the Decepticons were building a new space cruiser and missed. The same episode that introduced us to Hauler, who we didn't see till much, much later, even though for the longest time we all thought it was Grapple, just with a different name. So yeah, here we go. So here is Cliffjumper. He does look really, really good. The sticker on the front doesn't come with the figure. I added this myself. He does have an Autobot logo on him that is completely invisible. Yep. In robot mode. It's only visible in vehicle mode. So I thought it was just really stupid to have a Cliffjumper without a belly sticker or chest sticker, depending on how you want to look at it. So I put that on there, and I think they did put a sticker on his belly for the Buzzworthy to show off his Autobot allegiance. So here we go. So he does look good. The gun can parts form into multiple things. Unplug that, and that can be whatever. You unplug that, and you have another gun. You can take these pieces off. So you do have two blasters, relatively similar. If you wanted to know which one goes first, you have a port here for a hole here for this port hole, whatever. These can, of course, be attached however you want, so you can do that. If you want to make a machine gun, if you want, for whatever reason, you can plug that in there and make it look like it's got some weird silencer on it. So there we go. Even though it's a bit tight. But we will put those off to the side because we will need them again later. So let's get down to articulation. Now mine is a little stiff. I haven't transformed him much. So yeah, head can do full 360. I think that is a mushroom peg because there's a little bit of a wiggle side to side. Not teeny tiny up and down, so maybe it's not a mushroom peg, maybe it is a ball joint. Arms can do a full 360. They go up that far. We have bicep rotation, or upper bicep anyway. We have elbow joint that gets you that far. We also have an elbow joint that gets you that far if you want to look like he's got a broken arm for some reason. You have wrist rotation, nothing at the fingers or thumb, that's one solid piece. You have waist rotation. You technically you could say you have an arching back, even though that's more transformation, and it can go further if we deal with the backpack. Beg my pardon. Leg goes out this far, can come forward that far, and back that far. Now you would possibly think, well, if the backpack wasn't there, it could go further, but the hip is actually slapping against the waist. So even if that was out of the way, you won't get much further. He does have a hip thigh rotation. I do that because there is I don't know if you can see it. I'll throw the light on. There is a mushroom peg down here that attaches to a pin that attaches to his waist, to his crotch. So technically it's in the thigh, but it's meant to mimic it for the hip. So that's just a bit weird. We have our knee that gets you that far. Toes don't go forward. He has an absolute crazy ankle tilt. You can get it back. It's more for transformation. If you unplug this piece here, you can fold that back if that's of any use to you. And we'll plug that back in. Of course, it doesn't go straight back in. I will go through that. If I can line it up, get in there. There we go. I will show that one better when we actually get to transformation. Oh, now I'm popping things. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could use that for a further arm, but that's transformation again. Also, it's playing havoc with the backpack. So there we go. Also, before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget, you do have part effect ports. One here, one here, one here. I think that's all, but you do have 5mm ports here, here, the hands, here. There's also one that the backpack's currently plugged into. Here, here, whoops, these two, and I think that's it. Now, speaking of backpack, you can unplug it. He is a parts former, sadly, but it does work with this, but it is there. You have this port here, so if you can plug that into his hand, use it as a shield, and of course gives you another port. So if you really wanted to, I suppose if you got all that together, you could actually store his gun on his back and his shield. Actually, now that I think of it, if you plug that back in, or other way around, it's up to you which way you want it, but this is usually the way. I suppose you could rather awkwardly somehow plug it in that way, but I think it'd be better the other way around. So there we go. All right, let's get down to transformation. Yes, we do have to take this off, and we will fold that down. All right, here we go. Now the transformation's simple, clever, and unexpected. So what we're going to do here is, and I can always try to remember which way this goes, we want to fold the arms back and just sit those against these wheels. They don't plug in, they just sit there. We want to bring the waist back, which is now all clear because that backpack's not there. Flip up this piece, which is the top of the car, and flip that out just to get that over and done with. We want to, I probably should have done this first, rotate the waist so that the feet are pointing that way. And hopefully now we have enough clearance that we can bring the arms back. There is little tabs here on both arms that will go into these two ports. So that goes there. This comes back. And if things are clear like they're supposed to, which they don't feel like they are, my hips might be a little bit in the way. That will plug in there, but I'll fix these legs up to get them a little bit further forward. So I'll just lift them up. One went in fine. The other one's giving me a little bit of chaos. That'll clear a lot better once I've got these actual legs properly transformed. So we're going to fold out the doors, bring down the feet, like so. And that now should give me clearance for those arms properly. I think I've got them. Yep. And then what we want to do is we want to bring this down, and it's going to go into these little ports here. Are these going to go into these? So bring that down and get that underneath, like so. And we'll bring that down. Actually, the whole thing didn't want to work anyway. Like so. And then you have, and I should have shown this before, I'm going, well, you have these little tabs that are going to go into these ports here, which is basically where those mushroom pegs are. So get that back in place. And then you have these little pegs that are going to sit behind where the arm door thingies are. They can be a little bit iffy to get in place. Make sure everything else is where it's supposed to be. We bring this down and that will just sit nice and snug. We can come under here and bring these wheels out. And there he is, all transformed with a giant hole in the back end. Parts forming. These two pieces are going to slide into the hands. The hands don't have to be any specific way, but you just line them up. Give them a little push to make sure that they're going to all line up. And then keep pushing. And there is a little sort of tabbing point in the back here that grabs the rest of the back of the roof. And there is Cliffjumper in his vehicle mode. Now, this isn't the Penny Racer Cliffjumper that we all know and love. It's not specifically the G1. It's like, I think, what they did with Bumblebee. It's a little bit more of a realistic vehicle. I want to say Camaro. Something tells me Chevrolet Camaro, but that could be Windcharger. I could be wrong. So, yeah, somewhere in the... Actually, it was a Porsche. That's what it was. It was a Porsche, but I can't remember what Porsche. Anyway, so this is meant to be some sort of Porsche. As I was going to say, put in the comments what type of Porsche. I have no idea. I'm drawing a blank. But I'm sure it's a Porsche. So there we go. He is in nice in vehicle mode. He does look really good. He is a really nice vehicle mode. Now we can bring all this back in. And as I said, you can make the bazooka and whatever guns and plug it in here and shoot if you want. But they do have another purpose. And I don't know why this is a defining feature for Cliffjumper. My X-Transport's Toro does it. I assume Vans Doys, their Cliffjumper does it. He does it. Buzzworthy does it. I don't know why it's a thing. I know it's a G1 episode, but I don't quite recall why. Anyway, what you do is you take this, and there is a split. So you want to split this, and it has sort of a ratchet feel to it. And then what you want to do is you have, if you can see them, you have these two ports that will plug into these two holes. And you have this port here that will plug into here, which was basically his backpack holder. So you plug that into there. Like so, if I can line them up properly. And line that up. So that fills all that out. Now, it doesn't really help in this mode because he can't roll. It's lifting his back end up way too high. But you can take his guns, and there's, where is it? A little slit that you can't see for a life of me. Right here. Yes, slits here too, but these little ones in the handle is what we're looking at. And you have these two pegs, and if you can, which is easier to do in person than on camera, line them up and plug them in, like so. There we go. And now you basically have a masked vehicle. You know, take this off, it's still going to roll. But we're not finished yet because we have these pieces, which were our magazines slash whatever you want to call them in our bazooka mode. But you have these two ports under his wheels. And if you line them up so, you have the bent up piece to the front. And I will do my best to actually show this. You plug them in, which can be a little bit awkward. The same on the other side. Just a matter of trying to keep things straight. But new one's going to fall out. Get back in there. There you go. And there is Cliffjumper in his rocket / sled mode. I suppose if you want, you could put that away, put some parts effects in there, and make it look like that they're shooting fire. So there is that. Like I said, I don't quite know why this is a defining feature of Cliffjumpers, but it is there and it does do that. Now, size comparison. There he is with Windblade. So he's pretty small, but the box says deluxe. I'm trying to say it's not core figure. What was the Scout? They don't do Scout anymore. I swear that was a size below deluxe. I want to say it was Scout class. He's basically Scout class, but because of his parts count and the weapon, he was a deluxe. You know, deluxe is just everywhere nowadays when it comes to size comparisons. All right, so we take all these off, and we'll get this guy back into robot mode, and we'll just get the gun all put together again. So that goes into there, and then these go in here. You can put them however you want. Just know that if you want him to grab this end instead of that, you're probably going to have to bend that up somehow. Not somehow, but whatnot. And of course, you can put this however you want. I'm just going to put it that way because that looks weird from below. And put that off to the side. All right, now it does help to have nails for this. What you're going to do is you're going to pull on his hands to pop off this. So I'm just looking to see if I can figure out where that tabbed in. I want to say it was here somewhere. And we can put that off to the side with the gun. And we can continue. So we flip up this piece, which I suppose it means that you can display it with an open roof. You do want to sort of bend this down. If it's plugged into these, it'll be right, but they'll probably pop out. We'll flip this out, and then we can come in here and we can untab the legs if they're not super duper plugged in, which I usually have a problem with. Like I said, if you transform this enough time, that won't be a problem. Fold under the wheels because otherwise you're not going to be able to get these parts back. They're going to be in the way. All right, now I was mentioning before about these. So you have these tabs here. You need to get them between the spokes in the wheels. Otherwise, they don't line up and they don't sit nowhere. And I'm pretty sure it's any wheel you want. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's focused. So just bend that, and if you feel it flatten, you've lined it up. If it doesn't, like that, you just have to play with the wheel until it does. All right, bring that down, and we will unpeg and bring the arms out to the side. That way we can get our waist all the way around and rotate it. Like I said, those joints there are easy to get into robot mode more than they are getting into alt mode for some reason. They just clash. I don't know why. Now you have these little sort of angled nubbins. They're going to go into these little grooves. So that slides up there, slides up there. It doesn't, it catches sort of, but it's pretty easy to unplug. Then we can bring the arms down like so. We can take our backpack and hopefully pop out the little black piece. Now, if you want, you can have something of a Battle Chargers look and plug it this way. If I can get in here. You can have a Battle Chargers look like that, which I suppose would be semi-reminiscent of the original toy. Even though it's sort of, the head just sort of popped up, so not really, but you have that look if you want, or you can rotate it that way and sort of press it towards the back. You do get these two things sticking up, but it does have a cleaner look. I am aware that back in the day, There was a upgrade kit for the backpack to fill it out, but I never got it, never felt any need for it. So there is War for Cybertron Earthrise Cliffjumper back in his robot mode, and we can do final size comparisons. So I'll pull him back a little bit. Here he is with MP10. Lift that up a little bit. So he's, despite how the camera looks, he's just about over Prime's knee, head to foot. And last but not least, here he is with X-Transbot's Toro, their take on Masterpiece Cliffjumper. And if you're wondering how he compares to Masterpiece Bumblebee, Toro's basically the same size. So yeah, it works out. He's not actually too much shorter. Honestly, he's just a smidgen shorter than Toro is. And I don't have the fans' toys because I had Toro. I'm perfectly happy with Toro, so I never got the Cliffjumper or the, I think, did they make an MP of him? I can't remember. I remember they will make one. I can't remember if they've actually made it. So there we go. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. And apart from that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.